Estamos no ar com Golf Clube Wasteland. Bem-vindo ao Wasteland. Basicamente nesse jogo aqui deu merda na Terra, a parte da humanidade foi pra Marte e os ricaços de Marte vêm pra Terra jogar golfe nas ruínas da Terra.
Histoire, les mémoires, le bon vieux temps, source originale, fable authentique, espoir, inspiration, rap, musique, radio nostalgie de Mars.
I had nightmares. I'm happy to be alive, but I knew many who deserved to live more than I did.
Porra!
This is a radio program about nostalgia, not guilt. I've been nostalgic since I was 20, when I left Havana. In Europe, I felt different. Each country has a smell. Mars doesn't. Where I come from, the smell of the ocean, mango, bananas, coconut, mama's food, ropa vieja de la abuelita, el con gris, la yuca con mojito.
A bola não rola não?
San Malecón, the smell of my street when the rain falls. All of that make me into the person I am. So when I left, I grew stronger. I experienced the world, but forever stayed incomplete.
Periferia de Alphaville.
Now I'm double nostalgic. We were full of life, laughing on warm nights under blue sky, touching each other. The air filled with the smell of sweat from dancing with our Orquesta Aragon playing from an apartment. Now, the only way I can feel is singing.
Puta que pariu. Vamos lá.
¿Cómo fue? No sé decirte cómo fue. No sé explicarme qué pasó, pero de ti me enamoré. Fue una luz que iluminó.
Cara, de novo eu consigo fazer esse buraco que eu consigo fazer um hole in one.
Como manantial, lleno mi vida de inquietud.
Que?
Fueron tus ojos o tu boca, fueron tus manos o tu voz. Fue a lo mejor la impaciencia.
Ai, cara, de novo.
Tanto esperar tu llegada, mas no sé decirte cómo fue, no sé explicarme qué pasó, pero de ti me enamoré.
Слушайте радио Ностальгия за Марса.
Thank you, young Neil. What a wonderful story. Reminds us that life is about so much more than just base survival.
Rádio Nostalgia de Marte.
Well, living in space has always been challenging. And here's a song that pokes a little fun at living in cramped quarters. Needs no introduction. All you want. It's a classic.
Take a moment, relax, and remember with Radio Nostalgia from Mars.
Rádio Nostalgia de Marte. Aqui.
Very different sight from the Cold War arms days, where the Kubrick that Solaris 2001, Melvin Industries, the same object
Bora.
America, really,
Pô, pior que não tem nem
она убила корейцев и вьетнамцев распространения. Демократию. Don't get me started on Stalin and your talent to suffer up themselves. Your history. You also inflicted scars. To astronauts.
Puta que pariu.
That is an international relation to astronauts. They speak in two tongues, but still ours stay tall. The same oxygen in their lungs, the same thrill on their spacewalk.
Aqui. Isso.
Я скучаю по утреннему кофе, сказал российский гастрономист из the American astronaut. Я скучаю по жене и
Porra, quase. Se não tivesse sido tão forte, talvez.
two astronauts.
E não.
That is an international relation to astronauts.
Contém isso com contrabando.
Как светит солнце, свет Бога, как прекрасна голубая земля.
Aqui a gente faz um. Não assim, porra.
On a mission.
Aê, moleque, isso. Ótimo, consegui passar pela areia. E foi. E Action Festa. Essa aqui foi uma das últimas fases que eu joguei ontem testando o jogo. Ontem não, madrugada. Aqui. Por favor, não. Ah, tudo bem.
Música está então.
Música dos bons e velhos tempos, Rádio Nostalgia de Marte.
Amateur Gender and arguably the first interplanetary hit to two
Porra.
astronauts, an anthem to the Great Evacuation.
Também não.
Certainly one of our most popular requests. Speaking of requests, please follow Habitat protocols for sanitation. No liquids out or bottling in the main bin, including pee. So if you don't like it,
Não, não, não.
water is recycled.
Isso.
Keep the funnel installed next to your toilet, please.
Urine no fundinho instalado perto da sua privada, por favor.
Speaking
Vai
of
aqui?
pee and poop, we recently welcomed
Boa.
our first official
Agora é só botar ele no buraquinho do.
Sophia tells us what it's like to be a new mother on Mars.
I'm so happy we moved to Mars. It was a project I funded from the very beginning. I knew it had potential and I trusted the amazing team working on it. As angel investors, my husband and I got early placements in
Deus na nave arca, catiça nas
I'm
colinas.
so grateful for the opportunity to further human
Ah não, essa aqui. Eu acho que essa aqui foi a última, não sei.
Just a week ago, we welcomed a baby boy into the world. Words cannot express how overjoyed we are at welcoming little Max. Putting him to bed reminds me of the parents.
Merda.
From my window here in Kansas City, you can see the earth.
Ai, não.
Max's hand.
Caralho.
It's painful
Caralho.
that a child might never experience the beauty of the home, the Hamptons,
Vamos lá.
the nature, coastline, the old lighthouse, and the food.
Please. Isso.
Parties, full of life compared to this barren, rugged terrain. I sent my little Martian to sleep with a lullaby my mother sang. Thanks to these songs, I'm able to retain, at
Isso.
least on a rudimentary level, my mother tongue. She sang like this.
Ó. Daí, deixa eu... Porra! Tá de sacanagem. Ideologia Kofef. Rádio Nostalgia de Marte.
Uplifting news and beautiful song. Life always finds a way. Just as precious as a new life is the water that sustains it. You may have noticed that it doesn't rain here on Mars. So another friendly reminder that showers are strictly limited to 30 seconds each.
Ótimo.
No exceptions.
Porque aqui perto do final aqui tem uma... Tem um abismo também, então... Ô caralho, velho!
Want to say in this? Join our sectional weekly meetings and vote while sipping on a relaxing tube of OMAS. Feels good, as it should.
Radio nostalgia from Mars.
Pronto, obrigado. Neon. Fome e epidemia se espalharam. Aqui. Shit! Putz, grila. Vamos lá. Motel migrante. Estávamos sem comida, a água nos deixava doentes. Hipster Fields. A vaca comeu a bola, foi isso? Ismael e Girafa Albina. Alguns privilegiados escaparam para Marte. Em caso de apocalipse, diz que 1-800 socorro de Deus. Porra! Spoilering.
Home away from home. Radio nostalgia from Mars.
Life passes quickly indeed. Another blast from the past, reminding us to savor each moment as it flies by. Speaking of savoring things,
Jornal chamado Fake News.
I'd like us to remind you that the popping and fizzing noise your dried food makes when you're adding water is perfectly normal and does not mean it is gone or is contaminated. The Health and Wellbeing Department would also like to take this moment to remind you to take your bone density pills twice a week now, as it was discovered the original dose is off by a factor of 2. Right, on with the show. Music and dancing have always been a mainstay of stress relief and letting go.
Porra, tá foda, hein?
Teenage clubbing days, with vivid memories of awkward first kisses, and a life-altering club experience invoking a philosophical
Bons tempos. Críticas, inspiração, drama, rádio, nostalgia de Marte. Minha mãe deu à luz de um bebê albino. Eu.
In school we used to learn all the German poets, like Best Friends, Goethe, and Schiller, but the first poet that actually spoke to me was Heinrich Heine. I knew a couple of Heine's poems by heart that are now buried somewhere deep in my mind, but one passage about burning books stuck with me. Yes, until today. So, just to fast forward to college, just a couple of years before the Great Catastrophe, I was walking around Berlin with
Puta
a
merda.
group of friends coming from a house party. Boy, I still remember that apartment smelling of potatoes. Yes, because we always made hummus and drank schnapps before heading out. Yeah. And after that, I remember passing by Alexanderplatz on that very, very hot night. And next to me was a guy I liked. We kissed before, but I can't say I really remember that. Probably from all the drinking, or maybe he was just a bad kisser.
Porra.
But I can still
Ah.
feel this sticky, sweaty, and very ambivalent feeling of us holding hands. Yeah, anyways, we popped some pills and entered our techno church that, well, now when I think back, I visited more often than my college. And I remember the beat in my chest and all these young bodies moving in this industrial space. I used to love
Não era pra eu fazer isso.
counting beats in techno songs, but one song was very strange. It just went repetition, 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 and then this female vocal would creep out of nowhere. And then suddenly I felt very dizzy, so I sat on the ground and held my knees closely to my chest. It was some sort of like protective instinct. I was like an animal. And I felt cold sweat dripping down my neck. Ugh. And I'm sure my guy
no.
was completely crazy. And then out of nowhere, the Heine lines clearly came to me. I sat there motionless, surrounded by the ugly, hypnotic, delirious atmosphere. And no effort to recall Heine's lines. They were just there, planted in my head. Wilde, düstere Zeiten brüllen heran und der Prophet, der eine neue Apokalypse schreiben wollte,
Ja, vou ter que reiniciar a
neue
fase.
Bestien erfinden. Und zwar so erschreckliche, dass die älteren johannischen Tiersymbole dagegen nur sanfte Täubchen und Amoretten wären. Die Götter verhüllen ihr Antlitz aus Mitleid mit den Menschenkindern, ihren langjährigen Pfleglingen und vielleicht zugleich auch aus Besorgnis über das eigene Schicksal. Ja, 2 years later, I ended up here, on Mars.
That does bring back memories of university days and sweaty club nights. Earthly hedonism at its finest. For the record, corporate does not endorse or advocate the use of psychedelic drugs, and reminds you, dear listeners, that Class A drugs are just as illegal here on Mars as they are on Earth. Okay, disclaimer out of the way, we actually have a surprise for Mirva, who tracked down that weird song in her head and dug it out of the archives for all to hear. Grab a tube of OMAS and enjoy the ride of sipping on pure calm.
The deepest tunes, the warmest memories. Radio nostalgia from Mars.
Aqui. Quase. Edu! Edu! Vamos ficar aqui 2 horas aqui nesse buraco. Ela morreu no 4º ano da grande catástrofe. Elevador pelo lugar nenhum. Aqui. aqui. Não, não! Porra.
You're listening to Radio.
Você está ouvindo a rádio Nostalgia de Marte.
Oh, what can I say? No wonder that
E
song
que é
doesn't
uma
turn
música
my head.
perturbadora mesmo.
But with a little help from some friends, she pulled through.
Que
Another thing that can get into your head is living conditions here on Mars. Life up here on Mars can get a bit overwhelming at times, so along with the soothing Omas drink, no stress, no fuss, it bears mentioning that wellness counseling is mandatory for all team members, regardless of rank or tenure. The wellness sessions are completely confidential and anonymous, but do remember that all conversations are monitored and recorded for security reasons, and you must have your ID badge for section and
ótimo.
classes
Vamos lá.
at all times. Okay, time for another story. Our last caller to the soul show is Francesco. who tells
Uma
the
história
truth
aterrorizante
of his last
dos
day
últimos dias dele na Terra, quando a grande catástrofe
kicked
chegou ao
into
pico.
high gear.
As memórias, os bons tempos, fontes originais, histórias autênticas, esperança, inspiração, drama, rádio Nostalgia de Marte. Um verão extremamente úmido. Meus pais não me deixavam sair por causa das enchentes na Itália. O pai saiu de casa e estava trabalhando na estufa, no vinhedo. Minha mãe era médica.
I was very small, but I remember many days when our neighbors would gather at our house and make plans. It rained heavily at night. They would only say to me, "Powerful people want to take my great-great-grandfather's land." One image stuck in my memory. It was daybreak. I woke up and I could faintly hear in the dark.
Isso.
Only later understood the history behind this song. Outside I saw men and women, my father and mother, rifles in their hands. My father was crying and singing. I was at the door of the house. My mother turned, smiled at me.
Afrodite com vara de selfie.
Serious, confident smile. Raccomando ai compagni vicini di tenerli a conto i bambini che io muoio col suo
Ok.
nel cuore. Of course, I had no idea where they were buried. Traditori, signori ufficiali, che la guerra
Oopsie.
avete voluta,
É,
scannatori di carne venduta e rovina della gioventù.
Edu!
12 years later, Mars mission. In a way, the people who killed my parents found me in Italy and recruited me. Saved me,
Caralho!
you can say. It is ironic now. My parents fought for me. I cannot say I'm free here on Mars. They took my semen this morning for the population increase program. Here, on Mars, often in the middle of the night, I hear my parents sing. O Gorizia, tu sei maledetta per ogni cuore che sente coscienza. Dolorosa ci fu la partenza e il ritorno per molti non fu. O Gorizia, tu sei maledetta per ogni cuore che sente coscienza.
E
Dolorosa ci fu la partenza e il ritorno.
bem, aqui eu posso subir. Esse aqui é.
Non fu.
Radio nostalgia from Mars.
Não! Isso. Vamos lá. Bom, cheguei. Estou no paraíso. E abundância, meu irmão. Velho Schmerz na varanda. Não há rosto humano há 2 anos. Não vi um rosto humano há 2 anos. Talvez mais. Aqui. Shit! Droga. Não é bem isso que eu queria, mas pelo menos não caiu lá embaixo. Aqui. Shit! Ótimo.
The deepest tunes, the warmest memories. Radio nostalgia from Mars.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show. It's been a real journey. Music, stories, and memories. Radio Nostalgia from Mars has it all. If you want to be involved with RNFM, have a story to tell, a memory to share, contact us via the usual internet channels and leave a short message outlining your contribution. Once your story idea is vetted and greenlit by corporate, they'll track you down to organize a time to record you. Please note that not all stories are accepted, and we are not permitted to give out criteria, so stories and ideas are submitted at your own risk.
Aqui.
A big thank you to our show sponsor, OMAS, the no stress, no fuss drink for the ultra elite. And a big thank you to corporate for allocating us this precious time and their resources on this tight beat to you. I hope you've enjoyed the show. It's been a pleasure to take your hand. We're playing out with Crowded in My Mind, a song that always reminds us that no matter how cramped and stuck you can feel, in the end, there is always a breath of fresh air in memories of blue skies.
Música está em dobre dano.
Consegui, hein?
Radio Nostalgia Summers.
Aqui. Não! Ótimo. Aqui. Nha. Aqui e... Não. Graças a Deus. Esquilos de Alphaville. É que eu tropecei em grupo acertando uma bola laranja. Hã? Oh boy. Progresso. E... Põe, põe, põe. E... Nossa, que horrível. Quase. Muito fraco. Forte demais.
Please stand by for next transmission. Please Please stand by for next transmission in 30 seconds.
Isso.
Please stand by for next transmission in 20 seconds. In 15 seconds. In 10 seconds.
Quase.
In 5 seconds.
Isso.
1 second.
Rádio Nostalgia de Marte.
Yeah, to all you Martians out there, welcome to another edition of Radio Nostalgia from Mars. Plenty of great stuff coming your way on this Soul Show. You know, from that old tyranny flavor. Some more stories from our beloved cause, and news and views from our galaxies here amongst the stars.
Olha só.
Like I said, don't tie your beam to Radio Nostalgia from Mars. Easy.
Oh,
And Ren.
Esquilo me ajudou. You gotta be kidding me. Saudade. Aqui. Baixo. Onde eu tô? Ah tá, ele deixou aqui. Meu amigo Pombo aí.
The show with the club classic Proto 2021. Lost birthday and
Caralho! Pô, isso aí foi, ó.
that should take most of us back to the days when Mars was nothing but an evening star in the sky and large social gatherings. Speaking of carefree, look out for 3 new OMAS phrases, pink, green and yellow. Pure carbon. Got you.
Digidopamina, mas enquanto isso ele também jogava golfe e
As
caçava.
always, we've collected some stories from our beloved callers, and up first is a young man who might just be the luckiest one of us all.
События, воспоминания, старые добрые времена, оригинальные источники, подлинные истории, надежда, вдохновение, драма, радионостальгия, с Марса.
I nearly missed the boat to Mars. I mean, the rumours about something big happening in Alphaville have been floating for a few years, and of course it was impossible to separate fact from fiction. At that time, I barely made it through insurgent territory to this floating ghetto about an hour away from Alphaville by motorboat. I won't go into detail, but the two of the Coast Guard to go have a really long piss, where we used his comms to access their intranet. Their information turned out just as distorted as ours, but we found one channel that changed everything. Some bright spark in Alphaville, they made colour-coded spreadsheets of shipping data a monkey could understand. Imports into Alphaville were off the charts, while exports had zeroed out completely. I mean, nothing was coming out, even on the black market, which incidentally was fully accounted for, meaning it had to be sanctioned all along. So we knew something was up. Of course, Alphaville media spun this situation heavily. The insurgents were blamed for everything, disrupting supply lines, stealing aid and so on. But it was really Alphaville stockpiling on a scale unseen in modern history. What tipped us off that they were planning to leave Earth is what they were stockpiling. Fuel. Specifically, dinitrogen, tetroxide and hydrazine. Old school.
No!
But they're chemicals used as rocket fuel. They're easy to store, but they're highly toxic and require careful handling, which explained another gruesome discovery. The covert shipping and dumping of bodies. A lot of bodies. There were so many that some of those bodies had started washing up in our neighbourhood. So toxic, even scavengers stayed away. Coincidentally, it suddenly became much easier to get a multi-day work pass into Alphaville. We were so hungry and focused on other resources, we didn't make the connection. We assumed the workers were skipping on the visa. In fact, I was planning to do the exact same thing. So actually, I lucked out. I'm a small guy, and Alphaville was so strapped for labour at that point that I was given an unscreened pass and ended up in heavy labour, moving enormous containers into storage with mechanical suits. But it didn't fit them. So I was just given a scanner instead and told to scan serial numbers all day. It was very hard to breathe, so I traded for a spare hazmat suit from a drunk guard and put it on. Not unusual at all to hang out all day in a hazy. Technically just walking outside required one those days. That's what saved me, twice. Whew. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but those containers, where'd the rocket go? And in no way was it being stored and transported safely. All those guys died, withered to skin and bone. Nasty stuff. Again, it was all hidden in plain sight. Hell, we were all skin and bone at that point. We just assumed everyone was starving. I only got onto one of the last ships up to Mars because I was in a hazmat suit and holding that scanner, which I think I stopped working within the first days of my assignment. I never told anyone, and no one ever asked. I guess I was confused with security or something. All I remember is being yelled at, rushed into a shuttle, and then everyone patting me on the back and calling me Scully. The name embedded in the biometrics of the suit. I never saw my crew or this guy again.
Wow, what amazing luck to be in the right suit at the right time. That just goes to show dressing appropriately for the job can really go a long way. Speaking of dressing appropriately, here's a Mars fun fact. Despite an average temperature of well below -80 degrees centigrade, if you step outside without a suit on, you won't freeze to death, your blood will boil.
Just think
the low atmospheric pressure outside. So please maintain your suits properly and follow follow decontamination protocols strictly at all times when returning from extra habitat activities. No suit, no life, as we say.
Radio nostalgia from Mars.
Right. How about a 21st century love song remixed for the 22nd? Who's watching who? Espionage or true love? I guess we'll never really be quite sure.
Vamos lá, vamos. Caralho, vai te catar, jogo. Foguete para Marte. Vamos ver só qual fase que estamos. 21 de 35. Ah tá, que o... elevador.
Your home away from home. Radio nostalgia from Mars.
Ah, surveillance love song, an oldie, but a goodie. Soulful jazz, reminding us that love remains as complicated as ever, despite our patented matchmaking algorithm.
Nenhuma das codificações genéticas.
Home away from home.
Radio nostalgia de Marte.
Now, as much as we appreciate our regular callers, there is one
tem uma
person we
pessoa.
would really love to hear from.
Um homem a quem devemos nossas vidas.
Our national hero, the Mars
O nacional, o piloto da missão Marte, que nos trouxe aqui em segurança muitos anos atrás. Acredite se quiser, ele finalmente conseguiu voltar para a Terra. Mas como sabemos, ele teve dificuldade em se adaptar à vida aqui em Marte. Todos tivemos, mas não na frente de todos como ele.
So Charlie, this
Esse é
is
um
really
Charlie que há de
nostalgic
nostalgia falando diretamente com você.
Charlie,
Charlie, gostaria muito se você pudesse dedicar um tempo a compartilhar um pouco da atmosfera da Terra conosco.
I'm sure many of our listeners are eager to hear your thoughts.
Sei que muitos ouvintes querem saber o que você acha de... Só falar no microfone você grava algumas palavras gravadas.
Anything.
Qualquer coisa. Da 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 da. Shit fuck da 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 da. Eu não gostei de tentar. Isso aqui é o maior fã da rádio nostalgia de Marte. Deve estar ouvindo agora de algum telhado em Alphaville. Então fique ligado para ver se ele responde. Mas pra ser sincero, não acho que ele vai responder tão cedo, infelizmente. Olha, ninguém pode culpá-lo. Andaime de Guido.
Subject of complications, the Mars time conglomerate has asked me to mention that even though a Mars sol is 40 minutes longer than a day on Earth, you do not have to manually add 40 minutes to your clocks every sol. We are officially on Mars clock time, so every second, minute and hour across all systems and devices are 2.7% longer by design. I know it's confusing at first, but just keep time.
Ah tá, a história que tá contando entre os capítulos é do molequinho albino que apareceu ali.
Okay, on with the show. Well, we've had a few requests for some classical music, and boy do I have a double treat for all you classical and vinyl lovers out there. A genuine record, playing off an actual record player, on loan from a dedicated RNFM fan. So grab a tube of OMS, sit back, and enjoy some chill, neoclassical vibes with that warm vinyl sound, right here on Radio Nostalgia.
Bom, puta que pariu, tá foda. Aqui. Caralho! Isso, quase. Quase de novo. Porra, cara. Aqui. Ah! Isso, malandro, bora. Isso, rapaz, é só mais dois, só mais dois.
Take a moment, relax, and remember.
Isso.
Radio nostalgia.
Só mais um, garoto, só mais um. Eu poderia fazer em menos se eu conseguisse de lá pra cá, daqui pra lá. Ah, qual é, cara, velho? Ó. Ele foi o piloto da missão Marte durante a grande catástrofe. Ótimo, consegui. Não. Isso. Aqui. Shit, não! Ou será que eu tenho que ir pra lá? É. Gol! Ah, eu achei que fosse cenário.
Música stary dobrej dan.
Música de bons e velhos tempos, cidade, nostalgia de Marte. Mas ele odiava sua nova vida, ele estava sozinho no planeta vermelho. Vamos ver aqui qual é. 24.
Test pressing found in a recycling bin with just the word aftermath written across the label. After that we got the blood pumping, an upbeat tune from Qualitet AD and their classic tune, Do You Love Me? Want to keep that blood pumping? Remember, exercise is mandatory. No groans, no bones. And mental exercise is just as important, so get on down to your local rec center for a dose of mentally stimulating team activities and some delicious OMAS. Okay, on to our next caller for the show. Money reminds us that one person's pleasure is another person's pain, and that we might not all relax in the same way to the same things.
I go back in a heartbeat. Testa City is unbearable. As far as I'm concerned, this promised land is anything but a dictatorship without oxygen. All these daily routines and protocols about everything we took for granted on Earth are so exhausting. Is it safe to take off your hazmat to breathe? Is the water distilled from all our urine really safe? And exactly what behavior will trigger a social credit demotion? Not to mention, every sneeze is suspect. The whole dome has to be sanitized if someone even sniffles. You'd think we figured it out during the pandemic. I know social distancing up here is impossible, but how freaking difficult is it to keep your hands clean and just not sneeze on stuff? Anyway, maybe that's humanity in a nutshell. After all, we walked on the moon before really learning to walk on Earth. I digress. I just want to say that the effort put into maintaining basic life functions in this state-of-the-art society outweighs the benefit of being alive. Use your head, can't you? Use your head. You're on Earth, there's no cure for that. Sam Beckett wrote that in Endgame. We're not cured, regardless of what our de facto overlords claim. It's ironic that the only thing we managed to export culturally onto another planet is a Silicon Valley brand of Protestantism. Story for rambling. Anyway, I called into the program to share some Earth sounds I captured. I'm sure listeners of RNFM who suffer from nostalgia like me will appreciate them. In the meditation dome, we can listen to the light sounds of the Tuscan country, olive grove shores of Kefalonia, the blue Danube below the Schwarzwald. I went to the meditation dome a few times, but just like yoga, I can't stand it. Simply, I don't miss nature at all. I was never a nature person, never really liked hiking or camping. I miss the city. This whole predicament started because we mixed with wilderness in the first place. This bullshit about Mother Nature sugarcoated the fact that maybe we were supposed to keep a sharp boundary between ourselves and the wild. And now, we're demoted from Earthling to miserable Martian status. So at the end of every day, soul, I escape into texts I brought along. I drink that horrid canteen coffee and listen to urban sounds I recorded 15 years ago, mostly in New York and London. Here are some of my favorite sounds. Here's the sound of my bicycle rolling down the street.
No, no,
The
no.
sound of the bustling city in the morning, a call and response of cars and birds.
Aqui.
And
Shit!
Washington Square as a group of street performers play
Não,
the
esse aqui.
box and do tricks. A kettle going off and the smell of Turkish coffee.
Não, não, não cai, please, não caia.
And for some reason, I'm obsessed with the sound of the New York MTA.
Não, 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 isso. Shit! No! No, no. O piloto ficou triste porque não salvou sua família. Shit. Porra! Hello! Ele estava cheio de culpa e nostalgia. Que... Que... Caralho! Tudo bem, foi uma fase rápida, mas... Ele bebeu até dormir de vinho destilado da água do banheiro. É o quê? Agora, por que essas fases aqui estão mais curtas? Através de conexões no Golf Clube Wasteland, ele fez uma viagem solo. Caralho! Son of a bitch. Olé! Meu Deus, não, não, não! Aqui um erro de tradução. Porque, tipo, you see em inglês é tipo, entende? Tipo, Bro, you see, in Tesla City they don't have gravity like here. Não é literal. Parallax view. Aqui. Na. No! Shit! Porra. Aqui. Qual é a meia vida do Daniel? Ele queria visitar seu passado. Vamos reiniciar. No, 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 no. Não! Oh, cacete. Shit. Isso. Nuvens, plantas, animais, ruínas, tudo é lindo e triste. De kids para kids.
Thank you, Manya, for sharing both your thoughts and your favorite sounds with us. That MTA recording actually got me digging into my proverbial record crate because it reminded me of this old track from my DJing days back on Earth called Tokyo 320, a minimal tech house homage to life in the commute, traveling, standing still, stuff. Not so wonderful though, is a spate of microplastic stockpiling occurring in sectors 7 to 12 after rumors of impending shortage. Guys, microplastic items freeze the space and need to be located in kiosks around Tesla City. So there's simply no need to hoard any microplastic items. In fact, hoarding them deprives the 3D printers of the recyclable material they need to make them freely available. So your stockpile is kind of taking a point of renewable resources. There's a 14 sold grace period to return all parts not in use. No questions asked. Besides, however much you hold on, there's just one thing you can't stockpile.
Que... Que... Boa. Aí aqui. Ô caralho! Ele queria respirar no ar, mas manteve seu traje de proteção. Que...
there, reminding us that all the good things in the world are no substitute for love. So, if you've recently matched someone via our repopulation program and you've received a date for your first meetup, don't forget to add to your mandatory diary. There does seem to be some confusion about scheduling based on the new double month standard, but it's really quite simple, guys. There are now 24 months in our year, and there are 2 of each month, January 1 and January 2, February 1, February 2.
Agora os caras têm 24 meses por ano.
Except for every 6th month, which is 27 souls long. I hope that clears up the situation. Any further queries, in writing please, can be submitted directly to the Mars Coalition for the simplification of the Martian calendar. So, from trains and city soundscapes to rhythms born out of hands and feet, water and drums, we continue our journey into the past, into our collective memories of Earth, a celebration of sound as music, music as sound, and voices that carry us into the stars.
Isso.
In that vein, a friendly reminder that silence is deadly. If you hear nothing, please report it. General machine noise means we are being kept alive. Speaking of keeping us alive, 2 equals 1. Duplicates are not spares, people. Everything on Mars is duplicated for security, so please do not cannibalize existing tech. If something breaks, head directly to the spares and parts department in Sector 5 to submit your report and apply for official replacements.
Ok. Vamos lá. Aqui. Yeah. Sentindo que estava sendo seguido, olhou ao seu redor. Ruínas do neofuturismo. Vamos dar uma olhada aqui e ver qual é essa fase. 33 de 35. Shit! Ai, de novo, cara. Isso, aí, para, aí. Aqui e... Shit. Não, 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 não. Ai. Stop, pá. Oh, caralho, de asa. Aqui. Não, para. Aí.
It's time for our last caller. The senior geologist at Cicely University gives us a slightly different perspective on ecology from his research lab at the South Pole.
Ótimo. Mito, mas então o piloto me viu.
As a geologist, it always annoyed me that the colour of Earth conservation was green. Seen from space, the majority of the Earth's surface is blue, with the remaining 29% for land. And of that land, deserts make up 1/3 of the land surface area, sweeping burns of oak rust.
Peraí. Não, peraí.
Break. Anyway, as a lifelong acolyte of sun and sand, I'm not up here pining for jungles and wetlands. I yearn for week-long expeditions into the desert, traversing dunes big enough to swallow entire towns in one sideways trip. Oh, to feel that oven-hot wind dry as a bone on my face. There's more dust in my veins than water, I'll tell you that much. It astonishes me that people up here are oblivious to the fact that it's our understanding of living in deserts that makes life up here on Mars even possible. The early days of Mars habitation experiments took place in the Gobi Desert and in Hawaii on the side of a barren volcano.
Home sweet home.
Protected marshland in the Okavango, you get me? What did the last trees of the Black Forest give us except...
Caminho em minha direção fora da área vigiada.
The desert saved us. Oh, I mean, the irony.
Isso aqui provavelmente é o final do jogo, já que é o 35º percurso, por assim dizer. Ele tirou o capacete mostrando uma face amigável. Tolo, você pensa. Ele sabia que a radiação o destruiria. A espaçonave de táxi comunicou que estava partindo. Mas depois de tanto tempo esperando por esta viagem, o piloto não retornaria. Morrer na Terra era melhor do que viver em Marte. E ele queria conhecer essa pálida criança mutante. Então ficou comigo aqui na Terra. Agora ouço suas histórias sobre o tempo antes da grande catástrofe. Nós reconstruímos a casa. Ele me ensinou a ler e escrever. Ele frequentemente tosse sangue. Pergunto se ele quer voltar para casa. Ele sorri. Estou em casa. E o protagonista morreu. Fim. E todo mundo morreu. Fim. Esse é Golf Clube Wasteland. É um jogo que ele tem para PC e consoles. E eu não sei como terminar isso. Odisseia de Charlie. Ah tá, essa é a história do protagonista, eu acho.